Amongst the hullabaloo and the high Philly cheese stakes of WrestleMania 40, WWE announced the addition of two new championships coming into play in the coming weeks. Now the dust has settled and the stories have been finished, let's take a look at these two new straps, one for the women, one for the chaps, and how they are about to change the game in WWE. It was hours before WrestleMania Saturday on NXT Stand and Deliver that NXT General Manager Ava gave us our first butchers at a brand new belt, the NXT Women's North American Championship. Like the World and WWE titles and the NXT Championship, the women's iteration is the same design, but with a lovely white strap. At time of recording, there's plans in place to hold a tournament to crown the first holder of this new title. It comes at a time where the NXT Women's division has been sorely lacking a secondary accolade to aim for since the NXT Women's Tag Team titles were swallowed up by their cursed big sisters. This is something that has been clamored for a long time. WWE stars such as Zoe Stark, Maxine Dupree, Zelina Vega, Raquel Rodriguez, and Bayley, just a few of the recent names who have called for the introduction of a secondary women's title. When Dana Brooke was WWE 24/7 champion, she actually suggested renaming it the Women's Intercontinental title. In fact, that short spell where Dana was being chased backstage for WWE's anemic offspring of the Hardcore title, it very briefly became a secondary women's title, you could say. Very nearly proof of concept, but also nowhere nearly proof of concept. Booker T also added his shucky ducky to this quack last year as well, crediting the current crop of NXT talent and saying how a secondary women's title is now needed. Shawn Michaels, during a media call last year, said he had toyed with the idea of adding more gold to the women's div, but felt that there was enough substantial storylines away from a title that it didn't really need it. It kind of echoes something that Becky Lynch said in an interview heading into Mania this year, saying that there actually should be more women's storylines not built around belts. To that end, NXT has provided storylines non-strap specific in the women's division, such as the mega power explosion of Toxic Attraction, Blair Davenport, ACL Assassin, and Thea Hale's Mean Girls story arc, to name but three. However, it looks like we have a chance to get the best of both worlds, with storylines not based around belts and the introduction of WWE's first official secondary single women's championship. The timing of this is pretty interesting. Ring of Honor have just added a secondary women's title as well, with the TV championship now held by evil Billy Starks. With pretty much all of Ring of Honor's titles hanging out with the cool kids in AEW, it has left the ROH Women's World Champion Athena doing a lot of the heavy lifting for Tony Khan's Forgotten Playset. So a secondary title, one that is more in the female focus on a Thursday night, is actually a really welcome addition. The same weekend that Billy became the inaugural ROH Women's TV Champ came the announcement of the NXT Women's North American Championship, an announcement that seemingly was sudden because the belt wasn't even on display. We just got a graphic on screen of what it's going to look like. Ava introduced the belt, declaring that the women's division was the backbone of NXT. And you know what? With around 30 female stars across NXT and Level Up, and with more in the wings, and no doubt more from the indie circuit to come, she's pretty spot on with that. The women's division on the third brand has arguably never been more stacked than it is right now. So no better reason than to use this influx of women's stars and future stars to add something else for the scene to fight for. You've got names that have been in the mix for a long time, like Gigi Dolan, JC Jane, Thea Hale, who have been around for a while but don't seem quite ready for the NXT Women's Championship. They could use a belt like this to garner a title tour or two. Also, you've got names like Sol Ruka, Jada Parker, and Ren Sinclair, who are future stars. Certainly not main belt ready yet, but chuck him in the mix for the North American title and let them accrue some golden air miles. No different to how the men's North American title is geared for getting a future world champion to grind XP. The introduction of this belt as a necessity actually celebrates how far WWE's women's division has come. It also, I believe, serves to test the water for the main roster of WWE. Could this be how WWE pilots a secondary women's title for Raw and or SmackDown? I mean, I, for one, would welcome a white strapped intercontinental title belt once again. It would make me feel all young once more. But for that, we shall see. We'll see how this one rolls. In the meantime, a new golden goal is being offered to the main roster talent on the men's side in the form of a new championship for a new kind of show. As just before WrestleMania week commenced, Corey Graves announced the introduction of the WWE Speed Championship, a belt that, as we speak, is being contested for tournament-style on WWE's latest bit of content creation. It was last year that SmackDown goers bore witness to a pilot for what would become a new WWE show, a series of matches contested at 100 miles per hour for a new show called WWE Speed. Initially 5-minute matches shortened to 3 when it actually debuted. As the weeks rolled on, we discovered what WWE was planning. This aforementioned new TV show, not for TV, exclusively for Twitter, or X if you're Elon Musk. The whole concept is WWE's latest endeavor in making bespoke content for social media, as they did with the Mixed Match Challenge that aired on Facebook Watch, Mark Zuckerberg's attempt at YouTube, bless his socks. WWE Speed would also serve as an outlet for Pete Dunne to flex his chops as a solo backstage producer, so we have heard. Dunne conducting high-speed matches may be the closest that Birmingham gets to HS2 for some time. Corey Graves shared details of WWE Speed in the week leading up to its debut, promising WWE showdowns of a high-octane kind. Raw, SmackDown and NXT talent have just 3 minutes to get the job done. We'd see the matches in full on Twitter every Wednesday as a tournament gets underway to crown the first ever WWE Speed champion. It's not the first title in wrestling with a beat-the-clock element to it. WWE tried a decade ago with the FCW Jack Briscoe 15 Championship, where you had to get the job done in quarter of an hour or less. It was also a nice break from the belt, as the winner got a lovely medal instead. That medal was held, first of all, by Seth freaking Rollins, of all people, who held it round his neck for 252 days in total. Elsewhere, the NWA Television Championship initially had a 6-minute and 5-second time limit, a homage to the 6:05 start time of NWA's flagship TV show from the 70s to the 90s. They do 10-minute long versions on pay-per-view now, but it's a nice twist. The presentation of WWE Speed with sweeping long camera cuts and distinctive Speed digital banners and presentation feels different immediately. No time for entrances either. No. The show begins with the sound of the bell, both wrestlers in the ring running hell for leather towards each other like rabid badgers. The early assumption was that WWE Speed would be WWE's latest attempt at a cruiserweight division, something that they've done in the past with mixed results, to the point where the titles of the cruiserweights have been either merged, stolen by Hornswoggle, or just completely forgotten about like a cousin's birthday. Whilst guys like Dragon Lee, Ricochet and JD McDonough, cruiserweight caliber competitors, have been showcased throughout this inaugural tournament, a standout performer has been Big Bronson Reed, who has explosive energy, very much built for a show like this. It's also given us Corey Graves as the host of the whole thing, Joey Stylesing it on commentary, solo style, something he's bloody good at. The heir apparent, as Michael Cole calls him, is owning it in a one-man comms booth, and it allows a laser focus on the action and continues to differentiate the show from the rest of the programming offering. When the content is so fast, you need the commentary to focus as well, because Otherwise, they digress. WWE Speed is part of a 2-year deal between WWE and X as part of a recent push for Elon Musk's platform to become the home of more unique content. In the same time frame, X signed up with several noteworthy political and sports commentators for exclusive shows, as well as a streaming exclusive Fox content deal for the World Cup. Going forward, there are also deals in place for X to stream the Paris Olympics via NBC Universal. As Twitter becomes the breeding ground for more trolls than the Etten Moors, there's still a lot of money and a lot of interest in their social media streaming hills, something that WWE is very much going to find out about between now and 2026. Soon, we're going to crown the first ever WWE Speed champion. And with that, will genuinely come a new era of wrestling. One that very much leans into the current online culture. You see, our attention spans have gotten shorter. It's a fact. Gloria Mark, PhD, has written a brilliant book about all of that and calculated that we can now hold attention on average for 47 seconds. We become more easily distracted than ever, which is why you've stopped listening to me and you're looking at the pop-up that's just appeared in the corner. Welcome back. Whilst we have always had long-form storytelling, cinema-bordering wrestling moments in our weekly WWE programming, WWE Speed and the upcoming WWE Speed Championship is a way of generating a type of wrestling that this new breed of doom scrollers and eye rollers could be drawn in by. It's a style that risks being snubbed by many long-term fans as too gymnastics, something that a lot of AEW matches have been labelled over the years. Also, it can be seen as lacking the psychological edge of some of the greatest matches of all time. There is an exciting challenge in crafting and choreographing pocket-sized pro wrestling that can embrace what the sport is all about, whilst giving something shiny and engaging that stops people swiping on X for at least 3 minutes. It could also potentially be a gimmick that doesn't quite work out. I guess we'll find out as we go. Adding a title, the WWE Speed Championship, also gives some reason for the season. What's the point in just having 3-minute matches if there's no accolade to aim for? It's not a belt that's going to break the Dave Meltzer star rating anytime soon, but it's an outlet for something different and a tangible for WWE talent to aim for. The WWE Speed Championship plus the NXT North American Women's Championship are quiet game changers for WWE. One is something short form, the other has been long desired. One presents an opportunity to capture new fans, the other presents an opportunity for new stars to capture gold. Soon, we'll know more about how these two belts fit around the waist of Paul Levesque's era of WWE. And I, for one, am intrigued to see how they shape how we watch and how we do the wrestling. Stay safe. Love you. Bye.